This is the Healthy Business Podcast, the show for ambitious business owners who want to grow and scale in a healthy way. I'm Sarah Cook, and I'll be sharing with you tips, inspiration, and proven methods from leading business experts, entrepreneurs, and health and wellness professionals to help you grow your business with more income and having more impact, but in a way that works for you. Because when you have clarity and strategy, you can achieve the results you want. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Healthy Business Podcast. I am joined by the wonderful Hetty Verney, who is a financial business mentor. She is one of only a handful of Profit First accredited accountants in the UK. And I'm super excited to be talking to you today, Hetty. So thank you for joining me.
Not at all. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, I'm excited about where our conversation is going to go because I know that numbers and accountants can bring a lot of fear into people's minds when they start thinking about it. But today, hopefully, we're going to bust a few myths and really talk about the importance of numbers, why it's important to really understand them, to know them, what they mean for you, but also really like as kind of paying yourself first, which is the importance of running your own business. So one question that I ask all my guests right at the beginning is, what does a healthy business mean to you? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Healthy business to me means that you are paying yourself what you deserve, that you are rewarding yourself, and therefore you are making enough of a profit to be able to do that. But more than anything, it's the peace of mind that your taxes are covered, that your bills are covered, because you know that you're in a healthy position to be able to do that.
I love that. I think there's it's that peace of mind, isn't it? It's that confidence in your business as well that is so important, that can feel quite unnerving when you get that tax bill and you go, oh my goodness, where am I going to find that from? Or it's a bit of a surprise.
Absolutely. And it's that 3 a.m. waking up. Oh my God, am I actually going to have enough for my tax? What happens if I can't pay my VA or whatever it happens to be? What on earth am I actually going to do? Actually, what am I doing? What is my profit? What does it mean? And I think when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I start thinking things, it goes on and it spirals down fast. And I think it does for a lot of people, but having that peace of mind takes that away. So you don't have those 3 a.m. thoughts, at least about that anyhow.
Yes. Yeah, I think it is one of those things. I think when you start a business, you're passionate about what you're doing, you get excited about what you're doing, and it's hard. You suddenly are wearing all of these different hats, and if numbers isn't necessarily your strong point, or you're not, an accountant, then having a handle on your numbers sometimes people can put their heads in the sand, can't they, and just go, oh, I'll sort that out another time.
Absolutely. And a lot of people have mindset blocks on money. It's a very emotive subject, even though it's your business, but you have to remember that it is your business. It's not your personal, it's your business. And if you can separate the two, sometimes it helps with the mindset blocks that get in the way of dealing with those figures. I have a lot of people who say to me, well, I'm not a numbers person, so I can't do this automatically. And it's like, actually, it doesn't make any difference whether you're a numbers person or not. You can actually do this, but there are ways and means of getting to that stage where you're actually comfortable with it.
Yeah, mindset's such a big part of business anyway, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
It comes up and rears its little ugly head every so often when we have limiting beliefs, or as you say, when you feel like you can't do something. Even just adding that little word "yet" to the end of that statement gives us possibility. It gives us a reason to look for ways to do things. And I think you're right. I think numbers is one of those areas that people, I don't know, there is that, as I said, there is that kind of putting your head in the sand a little bit. I think there's also that, oh, it'll sort itself out. I'll work around it. I'll find a way. I'll keep doing what I'm doing and then I'll be okay. But actually, what I love about what you do is it's almost about flipping that and saying, well, if you have a handle on your numbers, if you really understand what's coming in, what's going out, then you can make those decisions before you even get to that scary point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically, most people think of, or a lot of people think of money as being out of their control. And it's, as you say, it's completely flipping it on its head. It's actually, if you are in control of your money, then you're going to know where you are. You're going to know how much is coming in each month. You're not going to know how much is going out each month. You're going to know what your tax is. And so therefore, if you are more in control, again, it gives you that peace of mind to be able to build the business how you want to.
Yeah, definitely. And profit first. So this is a term that might be new to some people who are listening to this. Tell us a little bit about what that is, how it works, because that's almost kind of builds on what we've just been talking about, flipping things the opposite way.
So profit first is a cash management system. It's not an account system by any manner of means. It's a cash management system. And you can do this not just in your business, but you can do it in your personal life as well. And I suggest to a lot of my clients that they do it in the business first, get it up and running, and then change it over and do it in their personal lives as well. So as I say, it's a cash management system that helps you waterfall your money, your income, into separate pots. So you're automatically putting money aside for your tax, for your profit, and for your owner's pay. If you're VAT registered, you'd also do it into your VAT pot as well. But you can open as many pots as you want to. It helps you using certain predetermined percentages put over tiny, tiny amounts as often as you want to, but we'll go through that in a minute, into these pots. So the amounts seem minute at first, but by the time you get to pay your tax bill, you realize that actually you've already saved up for it. You don't have to think about where that money is going to come from. But what it does is the normal accounting formula is sales minus expenses equals profit, i.e. leaving your profit to whatever's left over. The profit first formula flips it completely on its head. So it's sales minus profit equals expenses. So i.e. you take out your profit first, whatever's left over is left to pay for your expenses. Now that sounds a little bit scary to start with, because you think, how am I going to actually have the money to pay for those expenses? So what we do is we work out where you are, what they call your current allocation percentages are, and then we increase those by literally by 1%, which therefore reduces your expenses only by that percentage as well. So you're cutting your expenses down, you're keeping a really close eye on what those expenses are, so that anything that is left over in that other pot, the operating expenses pot, is there to pay for all of your expenses. But in that, you've already put money aside for your profit. You've already put money aside for your owner's pay, and you've already put money aside for your tax. So it gives you that peace of mind. And the way it works is it's a behavioral thing. It's worked on a Parkinson's law, which basically says that the less that you have of something available, the less you've got to spend. If you think of it as a tube of toothpaste, when you've got a big fat new juicy tube of toothpaste, you quite often, when the first time you use it, you put a huge great big globule on your toothbrush. Doesn't matter if it falls off, you've got more in the pot, not a problem. Okay, when you get to the end of that tube, you will do anything to squeeze out that very, very last bit. You'll squeeze it, you'll turn it, you'll twist it, you'll do anything you possibly can. Probably at the very, very end, you'll get a tiny bit out, and then suddenly it'll shoot back into the tube. You're, oh, for goodness sake. That is how profit first works. It squeezes out the last possible amount that you've got in your expenses, so that you are putting yourself first. Too often when we're running our own businesses, we are the last people to be paid. We will pay all of our expenses, we'll pay our staff, we'll pay our VAs, we'll pay anything and everything that we possibly can, but we won't get paid properly. And if we're not paying ourselves properly, that's not a proper business in my eyes. That is not, we'd start to get a little bit resentful of our business. And that's not a good way to run a business in my eyes.
No, it's huge, isn't it? And it almost goes back to what we were talking about with your version of a healthy business and that mindset piece, that we don't want to start resenting it. The reason you've set your business up is because you're passionate about it and you're excited about it and you want to help people with the things that you're doing. But if you're not seeing that reward, and it's not even, it doesn't have to be, kind of materialistic reward. This is the kind of, basic level of income that we're starting to talk about, and shifting that, you paying yourself that first. That is, that's that transaction that you're giving people your services, your products. You should be getting paid for that. And I think that's where it's so interesting. I love the analogy of the toothpaste as well, because I think it's something that people can visualize, and we all do it, don't we?
I think we all do it, yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
when you use that sort of visual analogy, it makes you really sort of think, well, okay, can I get this last bit of toothpaste? Well, what actually does that mean as far as my business is concerned? And as you start using profit first, and you're putting more money into your profit pot and your owner's pay pot, and you're actually paying yourself not just what you deserve, but actually more. You're paying yourself really properly, like a member of staff would be paid. Once you start doing that, you suddenly get the real oomph to, oh God, I need to cut my expenses a bit more. I want more. I want to increase my profit next quarter. So therefore, what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to go through all my expenses again, and I'm going to cut them down by another 5%. That's what I'm going to do. And it really gives you that momentum to make sure that your expenses are run as lean as possible in order to be able to do what you want to do with your business.
Yeah. And I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's giving you that freedom to choose how you spend the money that you have within your business, but you have absolute clarity on where those different outgoings could be, and then you're making that choice. It is really about taking that CEO approach to your business. If you've got those pots, that money that's there, rather than just having this one bank account that everything kind of goes in and out, having these individual pots for me was a complete game changer, because I was like, oh, brilliant. Okay, I can invest in that because I've already covered my VAT. I've already covered my VA expenses. I've already covered, the tax at the end of the financial year. This is quite exciting. I can either choose to invest that in something else, or, that goes into the profit pot. That is still coming to me. And that's really exciting. And again, it goes back to your personal goals, how you want to run your business, what you want from it. And also how in some ways, it goes back to how you choose to run your life as well. I think, if you need that profit because you've got some amazing goals that you're working towards, then you can start building that up and start getting really excited about it, because you're seeing that pot growing month on month, week by week even. And really starting to get excited about it. And then, as you said, that kind of goes back to that mindset piece of feeling it, attaching meaning to things. And I've talked about this on previous episodes of the importance of attaching meaning to a goal, of you feel it, you emotionally feel it, rather than it just being that kind of physical transaction or that cash transaction that, just has to go out anyway. It's not paying a bill, it's impacting you achieving your goals.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's exciting.
Absolutely. I love it. My clients love it. I have a client who has literally just finished working with me. She gave me a testimonial last week, and it's taken her 11 months to set it up, with a lot of tears, shouting at me, cancelled meetings. I mean, talk about a mindset block.
Yeah.
She really had one. And then in December, she actually set it up. And at the end of December, she took her first profit. And that's the first time that her business has been in profit in 9 years.
Wow.
And she's taking a proper salary, and her tax is already paid. And she was like, this is a complete game changer. This has changed my whole life, but also how I view my business. Before, it was a bit of a drain.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what's the point of carrying on? I haven't been made a profit in 9 years. I can't see much point in doing this, etc. And now it's like, she's so excited about what the business is going to hold for her in the future. She's got so many plans and so many goals and all the rest of it, all because she has started to actually take control of where her money is going.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so exciting. And even though it took her so long to get there, the impact of actually when she did that, it is almost that kind of, not overnight, because I hate that word, overnight success, but it can be a really short impact that you start seeing the changes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the thing about profit first is that it will make you consistently profitable. even if you're not actually making a profit.
Yeah.
And two, it's from the first time that you make that very first allocation. So if you decide it's going to be on a weekly basis, then it'll be that first week. That is when you will start to make a profit in your business.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And hopefully the listeners to this are thinking, oh, this sounds really exciting. So how do people get started? You know, if they're thinking, okay, yes, I really actually do want to make profit. You know, the last 2 years have been really tough for a lot of people in business, and actually it doesn't mean that you don't have to make profit. It's really about focusing on the right things in the right places. So how do people get started?
Well, the book was originally written by Mike McAlevitz, an American guy who wrote it about 10, 12 years ago when he started implementing it in one of his businesses. It is written for the American market, but it will give you the basis of what to do. It may sound quite overcomplicated. In fact, I would say it will sound quite overcomplicated. I have manipulated it slightly so that it suits the UK market, whether you're a limited company or whether you're a sole trader, doesn't make any difference. What I do have and what I'm happy to give out to people is a 15-minute basic presentation on how it works and how you can set it up. If you want to set it up on your own, by all means do it, but do it right, because it is absolutely imperative. The only clients I've got who have failed on Profit First are the ones who have decided to do it in their own way. And it doesn't work. It will only work if you do it right. If you want help doing that yourselves, that's completely and utterly fine. I offer various different ways that you can work with me. I have a course coming out, which is, you get me a lot, but it teaches you in 6 weeks how to set it up really properly, depending on setting up your bank accounts, making sure that you've got your current allocation percentages right, that you're looking at the right figures that you've got, etc. But as I say, the most important thing is that you set it up right and you run it right. You don't deviate. It runs on 4 core principles. The small plates, which basically is the different pots that you've got for your profit, your owners pay, and your tax. The serving sequentially, which means basically taking your profit out before anything else. Removing temptation. So this is one of the key things, is that depending on where you have your main bank account, you have a second bank account with pots, spaces, whatever you like to call it, in order to allocate the money into each week, month, whatever it happens to be. In my case, I have my main bank account in Lloyd's, and I have another bank account in Starling, which has got all my spaces in it. It works brilliantly with Starling. Tide, you do have to pay fees. Metal and Metro is okay, not brilliant, but okay. But Starling, I would always suggest, is actually probably the easiest and the best one to do. And the 4th principle is the rhythm and the routine. And this is where people fall by the wayside. You can decide when to start, when to do your rhythm and your routine. Most of my clients now do it on a weekly basis because it works for them. If you only get paid monthly by your clients and you invoice them at the beginning of the month, they pay you at the end of the month, then I would suggest you only do it monthly. But otherwise, I would suggest that you do it weekly. Apart from anything else, you see the money going into the accounts quicker, so it's much more exciting. But if you start deviating from that routine, that's where it can all sort of start to fall by the wayside. Also, it's a very, very simple system. A lot of people try to overcomplicate it. Don't do that. It's one of the biggest pits.
Keep it simple. I like the sound of that. It's always
absolutely good. Once you get it set up, it will literally, your allocations will take you 10 minutes a week to do. That's it, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In order to be consistently profitable. Why wouldn't you do it?
No, it, as I said earlier, it's a complete game changer for me. And you're right. I mean, I have a Starling account and it is so simple and straightforward to use. You can set up the pots. I even write down or on my pots that you can change the names of them. And I have the percentages within that name. So I know exactly what percentage needs to go in there. And it just, yeah, streamlines things, makes things a
I
lot
even have
easier.
pictures on my pots as well. I've got clients who've got different colours for their pots because they wanted the yellow for their profit. And a lot of people don't actually like calling it the profit pot because it confuses them when they're thinking about your profit and loss. And it's not the same as that. So I've got people who are calling it their insurance pots, their rewards pots, whatever. I mean, it's complete, that bit is completely up to you. The most important thing is that you set up your pots, you get your percentages right, and you get your rhythm right. That's it. That's what I mean by keeping it simple.
And it really is. So if you are listening to this and thinking, okay, I'm really not a numbers person, you're making it sound simple, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. First place to go is to kind of connect with Hetty, but also then to set up probably a Starling account. I think they are probably the easiest ones for navigating with pots. It's free to do it. And then start playing around with it. But then, as Hetty says, make sure that you then allocate that in the right way. It's just getting used to it, getting used to that percentages and understanding what is right for your business.
What you can do as an absolute first start, just to sort of dip your toe into it and just see if you think it might be right for you, is look at your income on a weekly basis, whatever that happens to be, put 1% into a separate pot in a separate bank. No other accounts, just that 1% into a profit pot in another bank. Start doing that for a month or so, and you'll start to see how it builds up. Then I would suggest, if you want to either contact me, we can go through how to set it up, or if you want to set it up on your own, then you set up the other accounts. But that's a way of just sort of literally just dipping your toe in and seeing, oh, okay, oh, I see how this works. All right. And once you can see how it works, then you'll get so inspired by it, you'll want to do it anyhow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is some great advice there. Once people have then got their pots up, so if people are already kind of at that point, this, they're more aware of their money, I guess, that they have in their bank account, or money coming in, money going out, starting to think about profits, how they can make their business more profitable. Obviously, we've spoken about, cutting down expenses, but I know you have probably five different steps to increasing profit, don't you?
I do,
Probably
yes.
more than that, but as a
Five
starting
most
point.
important ones,
Yeah.
I would suggest, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of them is obviously cutting down your expenses, as we said. Secondly, it's grading your clients, grading them on a scale of, A to C, A to D, whatever it is that works for you. Is, okay, so-and-so is my client. How would I grade it? Depending on what your business is, it's whether they pay on time, whether you're charging them the right amount, are they repeat customers, are they a complete pain to work with, in which case you want to put them as a very, very low score. Again, it totally depends on what your business is as to how you want to grade them. So that's two of the things. Thirdly, increasing your prices. And
The thing that a lot of people find hard.
oh goodness, yeah, I find it hard. I make myself do it at least once a year, but I do find it very, very hard. But if you can look at even increasing your prices by 5%, what that's going to do to your profitability, that is absolutely key.
Yeah.
Because if you can increase your prices by 5%, how much is that actually going to increase your profit by? So it's not just about increasing your revenue, because increasing your revenue almost always will increase your expenses as well. So if you can increase your revenue in a way that is not going to increase your expenses, it will make your net profit higher.
Yeah.
Which is great. So yeah, that's the rising prices. Adding value. what can you add on to your, say you've got a client who you're selling your basic package to. Have you tried, do they know that you actually do something else? Can you add that on to the value that you're already offering? Your current clients are one of your best target markets. They know you, they love you already. So what else can you offer to them?
Yeah,
but
it's extending
also
that customer journey, isn't it? So that they're staying in your world for longer.
Yeah, absolutely. The longer that you can keep them there, the more they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
But also, what are you giving away for free? And I think that this is absolutely crucial, because the majority of us give too much. If we're running our own businesses, we will give too much because we're generous people. That's what we do. But if you can think about what you're giving away for free and start charging for it, even a small amount, it can make an enormous difference, because it's probably not going to take you any more time than you're already spending on doing it. It's probably not going to cost you any more. So therefore it's going to increase your profitability. And I think that that's it. It's really important to look at all 5 of those as separate entities almost.
Yeah.
And see each one, what you can do. When I did my 5-day challenge last year, we had each of those different tasks on a different day. And the first one was cutting down the expenses. But by the end of the 5th day, the results that we had from that, after they'd actually really gone through everything with a very fine tooth comb, do I need this subscription? Am I paying too much for it, and can I get it elsewhere for cheaper and better? 2, have I actually got the right grade of subscription, the right plan? Am I on that one, or can I go down one? Can I put something on hold, and can I actually get rid of it? And I think that's really, really crucial. Once we start looking at these expenses, I do it on a quarterly basis. And during COVID, I was doing it on a monthly basis, but I'm now doing it back on a quarterly basis. And every single time, I find that I've signed up to something else that I wasn't aware of, or I'd forgotten that had gone over the trial period, which is my usual thing. And every single time I cut my expenses down by in between 7 and 12%. Every single time. Now that means that my profit is going to go up by in between 7 and 12% every quarter. Well, that's fantastic. That means I can increase my percentages for profit first and put more money aside. I'm now paying myself a better salary than I've ever paid myself before. And partly that was because I didn't think I was worth it. What I was doing was just what I do.
Yeah.
And therefore, why would I pay myself more? But actually, the feeling that I get every time I do a payslip now is like, yeah, actually, I have deserved that.
Yeah.
And that's changed my mindset completely onto how I view my business and my figures. And I think it's crucial.
It's so important. And I think what's really interesting with what you've been talking about with tweaking how we can actually run things in our business to make more profit, we're not actually working more hours to achieve any of these things. No. You're bringing more money into your business without you having to work any more hours. So you're giving yourself that flexibility, that freedom, that more money, which we know is so many people's goals from running their own business and carrying on with it. That, you know, this isn't about working harder. It's about being smarter with your numbers, being smarter how you managing that money that's there. And as you said, you know, those 5 different areas, booking some time out in your diary to really look at those on a regular basis can have a huge impact on the amount of money that's coming to you without you having, as you say, without having to work any more hours or working harder. It really is the epitome, I think, of working smarter.
I believe it is, to me. I mean, okay, I am slightly biased and very passionate about it, but I think it is just, it's crucial that if you are running your own business, you need to understand what those numbers mean.
Yeah.
It's all very well handing everything over to an accountant and saying, do my accounts and do my tax return and all the rest of it. And okay, so what's my profit? How much tax have I got to pay? But if you don't understand what those figures actually mean, where they've come from, how the heck they got there.
Yeah.
And you don't ask the questions because you don't necessarily know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
It can be very daunting. And a bit, yeah, do you know what? I'll just ignore that. He says that's what my profit is. I'll do. I don't know why I call him a he. I automatically do.
I think we have we almost have that, probably that mindset, don't we, of whether it's accountants, stuffy accountants in their suits, or whether it's the tax man. We assume that that's male, which is a really interesting one, probably for another day.
Yeah. Bankers, solicitors and accountants, they're all male.
Yeah, there's an interesting mindset thing going on, isn't it? But yeah, I think going back to it, it's such a, in some ways, it's such an obvious thing for us to do as business owners. But one of the things that, because it feels overwhelming, because it feels like it's quite daunting, that we tend not to do it. But actually, it's right there for you. It's available for you without you having to really change how you're running your business, the products and services and things. I think one of the things that I would mention around kind of cutting expenses is doing it in a really mindful way. From what and having worked with you, it isn't about just chopping things for the sake of it, really thinking about those expenses. If it's, support that enables you to run your business in a better way, more efficient way, fast track those results, whatever that is important expenses in your business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if it's things that you're not using, if it's subscriptions that you've signed up for and forgotten about, or as you say, those free trials that have tipped over into you now paying, that's the stuff that you want to be looking at. It's those, even for me, when I was especially sort of through the kind of COVID lockdowns and things, I was going out and I was getting quite a few coffees because I just needed that space out of the house and away from the kids, and was enabling me to do some business whilst I was out. But actually, I've got a coffee machine at home. I don't need to have those coffees, or I don't need to have them every day, or whatever it is, that habit that you kind of get into. And I think it's sometimes just sense checking yourself. If that does help you and that does give you that, you're in a workspace where you have to go to a coffee shop or whatever it is, then of course you need to, keep yourself hydrated and all that kind of thing. But sense checking yourself, sense checking those expenses, I think is really important. And just, being aware of it. Awareness is such a great thing to have. I think that we do shy away from whatever it is, but being aware of it, getting clear on stuff, then you can make a plan, and it's your choice. It's your business. You can make that choice as to what that looks like, but understanding that impact as to what you were saying of, if you cut X, Y, and Z, that's more profit in your bank account. That means that you can achieve those goals quicker, or pay for that holiday, or whatever it is that you're working towards. And that gets really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I would say is that if you are not using a cloud accounting system for your accounts, it's going to make life a lot more complicated for you, because you're going to have to transfer the information onto a spreadsheet from your bank account. You're more likely to make human errors doing that than you are if you're using a cloud accounting system. Cloud accounting is not that cheap, but the power that it gives you and the knowledge that it gives you is massive. But also the time that it's going to take you to do your keep your accounts up to date on a weekly basis or whatever is at least halved, if not more, by doing it on a cloud accounting system. And you don't have to have Xero, you don't have to have QBO, you don't have to have Free Agent or anything. You can choose whichever ones. There's loads out there. If you have something like Free Agent, then you can get that free if you're already with NatWest, or you can get Metal free as well for Free Agent. Sorry, you can get Free Agent free if you've got Metal. QBO, if you're literally just starting out, you can start off with the self-employed QBO, but I wouldn't stick on it for very long because it doesn't give you enough information to be able to do what you need to do. Xero is, in my eyes, the simplest, the most user-friendly, and the one that connects with most bank accounts as well. And again, it makes Profit First an awful lot easier having a cloud accounting system than doing it on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Mike McCallum's advises no one to do any accounts on a spreadsheet anyhow, but doing Profit First on a spreadsheet is more complicated, and it's just going to take more time. If you want more time for yourself so that you can increase the revenue and doing the things that you want to do, then I would honestly suggest getting some sort of cloud accounting system up and running, sorted out. You're just coming up to the beginning of the new tax year in a minute. Really, really good time to do this. Get it all sorted out so that when you get to April, it's all up and running and ready to go. By the time you get to January next year, because you've already set up Profit First and you're putting that money aside, you will have already saved up for your tax by January next year. Done, dusted, no worry.
Yeah, it's a great feeling knowing that that tax bill, however big it's going to be, is covered because you've been putting that money away throughout the year. It was always, when I first started my business, was always that scary thought of going, oh my goodness, it's, end of January, I'm going to have to pay this. What am I going to do? But yeah, I think just reframing that, reshifting that, of going, actually just taking a small percentage, and in reality it is just a small percentage each week, each month, however you want to do it, but it just builds up, and then suddenly 12 months later it's there for you. You don't have to scrabble around in the last minute trying to find it.
No, absolutely. And also going back to the cloud accounting side of things, if you are using a cloud accounting system and your accountant wants all of your information at the end of the tax year or beginning of the tax year, whatever it happens to be, whenever they do it, it means that you can add them in as they're at your accountant. They can look at everything that you've done. You've got everything up to date. It means that depending on how your accountant works, it means that your accounts and your tax return are likely to be done an awful lot quicker and probably an awful lot cheaper as well. So therefore, you're already cutting your expenses down.
So many good pieces of advice there and good tips, I think. And hopefully you listening to this will have a bit of inspiration to go and check on your numbers, go and have a little look and see what you could do to increase your profit, but also looking at the Profit First to really get a handle on that so that you have more confidence in your numbers. No more sticking heads in the sand, I think. Are there any, I know we've talked a lot about kind of different tips and pieces of advice. Are there any sort of final summary tips that you'd share with people, or, initial places to start?
If you're literally just starting out, get those foundations so solid and get those habits in place pretty quickly, because then by the time you're at the stage where you really want to grow and you want to grow fast, everything will be so solid that it can't fall apart. Yeah. It's one of my absolute main tips. Secondly, getting the cloud accounting up and running for you so that you can start to understand what those numbers all mean. What else would I suggest? Setting your goals and your vision for how you want your business, but as you say, putting that emotion into it, I think is really, really key. I have a vision board for my business as well as home. And it's something that I have in front of me all the time. And I watch it, I look at it, and the revenue figure changes every quarter because I put my income up, I put my percentages up for Profit First. So that changes every single quarter without fail. And I think it's really, really important to be able to do that. Don't get scared of your numbers. Get in control of them as soon as you possibly can. But take it very, very slowly, step by step. Don't go hell for leather. Right, I'm going to do this all right now. I'm going to set up cloud accounting. I'm going to get last year's accounts and everything all done and dusted. Do it slowly, because otherwise it'll be so overwhelming that you'll stop.
Yeah, definitely. And we don't
also
like
have one other tip, and it might not work for anybody else, but I have my Friday afternoons are my admin and finance day afternoons. Without fail, I don't book any clients or anything like that. My Friday afternoons are for going through my Xero accounts, making sure everything's up to date, chasing up anyone who hasn't paid me, making sure all invoices have been sent out that need to be sent out, doing my Profit First, checking exactly where I am in my Profit First and what I can pay out and what I can't pay out, whatever it happens to be, and making sure all bills are paid that are done. So I get to the end of Friday, I know that my weekend is going to be finance free. I don't have to think about it. I'm already prepared for the following week. It's done. And it makes an enormous difference. And I think the majority of my clients who are doing it on a weekly basis now do that on a Friday, and it seems to work for them too.
Amazing. Yeah. And you said it gives you that kind of clear space going into the weekend without having to worry about things, knowing exactly where you are.
Yeah.
One thing I'd add to that as well is, doing it from a non-judgmental way. If you are feeling like, there's a lot going out and you're not getting as much in as you'd like to at the moment, then really trying to, yes, attach the emotion to your goals and what you're trying to bring in, but actually, remove that attachment, remove that emotion when you are going through those numbers, and just doing it in a really practical way of kind of exactly what, especially the expenses, when you're trying to understand which ones you need, which ones you don't necessarily need, doing that in a non-judgmental way. If that money is spent, we can't get that back. That's okay. This is about moving forward and giving you that sort of positive steps forward to really help you grow and scale your business in the ways that you want to.
Yeah,
Hetty,
I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
It's been amazing chatting to you. Numbers isn't necessarily my love, but I do love understanding them, and I love seeing the pots grow as well. So it's something that I think actually more and more people should be aware of, which is why I wanted to bring you into the podcast as well. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been amazing.
Yeah,
Where can people find you if they're wanting to connect with you or find out a little bit more about what you do? And how you
well,
help?
my website is hettyverneyaccounting.co.uk. They can connect through LinkedIn, Facebook. Every Friday morning at 10 o'clock, I do a Friday Focus, which is a live video on a particular subject to do with either Profit First or mentoring or accounts or whatever it happens to be. It's only about sort of 10, 15 minutes, and they're all on there, so you can always look at previous ones as well. I'm running this, setting up this course, which is going to be running within the next few weeks, so that you can start to do Profit First yourself, which will usually takes about 6 weeks for most people to do. If you want to work with me either as an accountant or a business mentor, or a financial business mentor, then there are all the connections through the website to connect to me however you want to.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll make sure those links get put into the show notes for people as well. So go and check your numbers, go and have a look at them, go and get clear on them, take those first steps, take that accountability. I think it's really important, and is a huge foundation of running and growing a successful business, and a healthy one as well. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Healthy Business Podcast. To get your free checklist with 1-minute hacks to accelerate your business and find out more about our community, head to my website, sarahcookmarketing.com/healthybusiness.